We are live. Welcome to another C3 stream in our continuing series of Flight Plan to Space, Small Press Comic, Small Press Alternative Comics Expo. It's this weekend at the Ohio Expo Center, June 10th and 11th. We're just going to start. Well, we have been interviewing a ton of people who are tabling this weekend and showing off their awesome comics, art, and just like indie stuff. It's cool. Tonight I have Danyell Dean with me. Say hi, Danielle.
Yo,
Yeah, okay. Bear with us tonight. We got a little lag issue, so we're going to try and hopefully curb that. I'm going to wait like 30 seconds before I respond so we don't talk over each other. But, Danielle, how are you doing tonight?
doing pretty good, chilling, vibing.
It's good. That's what I like to hear. Oh, we also have like a little shared canvas that we're going to be doodling on. We'll see if you can see any of that. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right. So Danielle, what should I ask you first? I don't know. I feel like we're going to talk about your work all night, but
Yeah,
is there anything? Is there any like background that you want people to know before we get into the nitty gritty?
sure. Well, I'm Danyell Dean. I'm originally from Central Florida. I grew up there, did community college, studying like studio art, graphic design. I've always been into like cartoons and like drawing and making my own little, like fan comics. So I've got like Spider-Man, Pokemon, uh, Hello Kitty, just random comics from when I was a kid. Um, and I always knew I wanted to get into like animation or illustration or comics or something. Um, so after like graduating like community college, I applied to a bunch of art colleges, got accepted everywhere, and I was like, oh, I'm having a hard time deciding where I want to go. Um, I was able to visit like Columbus through the Cleveland Institute of Art, which gave me a travel
Hmm.
grant. Um, and I just really liked Columbus. It was a very chill city, and so I came here. I studied 2D animation, minored in comics and narrative. During my time here, uh, I got an internship at Adult Swim. It was like a right place, right time kind of thing. Um, I got to do some motion graphics there and had my first like animation gig, I guess, where I storyboarded for one of their smaller shows. And after graduating CCAD, I applied to a bunch of places, and I got another like animation design internship at in San Francisco. So I did a lot of graphics there, animations there, commercials. But during my time there, I developed like rheumatoid arthritis, which
Oh, geez.
really put it, yeah, yeah. I just woke up one day and like I couldn't bend my fingers. I woke up, it was really painful to bend my fingers. So like doing this, like the crinkly motion with your fingers, since I can't really show
Hmm.
you, like doing that was like the most painful thing like
Wow.
I ever felt, and I've gone to the hospital during my time at CCAD for like an internal infection.
Hmm.
Um, and so I couldn't get diagnosed or go to a doctor or see anybody because I didn't have the right kind of insurance, uh, which kind of sucked living in a very big city and commuting like every day for like an hour to work and back.
Hmm.
It's also like a really expensive city. So um, I was offered a full time like position there, but I'm like, I have to go home and figure out my life.
Yeah.
So I went back to Florida, um, and I sort of lived with my family, did some graphic design work, got diagnosed and got some medication. And the biggest thing my doctor told me was like, stop eating meat.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I mean, I still eat meat, but it's like a lot less because I used to eat like bacon and like chicken, but like chicken's like the worst for me now.
Mm.
Um, and right before the pandemic, I got a job offer for Echo Bridge. It's a smaller like 2D animation studio, um, and I was originally gonna like go to St. Pete, which is like 2 hour drive from where my family lived, and like get an Airbnb and just like live there and uh, travel back and forth. But since I got the job right before, like right when everybody went into quarantine, I could just work from home.
Mm.
So I did a lot of storyboarding, car, animations, character designs, commercials for that studio for a while. But it was really draining on my hands. So like it was exhausting to like work on my own stuff and uh, really hard.
Hmm.
Uh, and then that studio like um, ran out of clients and went into NFTs, which I
Oh,
am not a big fan of.
I love
So
NFTs. They're my
yes,
favorite.
I call them like dress up dolls for crypto bros. So like
Yeah.
those like girl games where you can like change the clothes a little bit and like make it a new
Mhm.
character. That's what I see them as. It's like, oh, this monkey has a hat. Oh, that's cool. This monkey has glasses. Like it's worth thousands of dollars. Sure.
So you left over that? You were like not feeling it, or
No, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't feeling it.
yeah.
So I applied to jobs, but I mostly focused on graphic design because it's easier on my like hands. I wanted to work on my own stuff like after work, after my
Hmm.
main job. Um, so I applied to a bunch of places, mostly in like Central Florida and Columbus, and I moved back to Columbus um, and got a pretty decent like graphic design gig for a while. Um, and then I had the time to like work on my own comics because I now just do graphic design as like my day job, and I
Hmm.
like still take on like animation um, and like illustrations occasionally, but I'm very picky about that now.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Do you when you say it's like easier in your hands, are you using like a mouse or like a trackpad? Like what's the go to? Or are you still like doing a stylus when you do like your graphic design stuff?
Graphic design is mostly like mouse, so it's like a lot of drag and drop.
Hmm.
It's a lot it's a lot simpler. I don't have to use like for my illustration like I'm doing now. I use a Huon screen where you can just draw on. It's like the cheaper version of a Wacom, and I prefer like the feel of a Huon, even if they're smaller tablets. Um, it's just a lot smoother feeling than I feel like Wacom products are, and they're pretty underrated.
Yeah. I actually just picked up the Huon. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's like their flagship. Like it's like the Cintiq like
Yeah,
22 like competitor. But
I
I'm
think
a
it's
big
called
fan, honestly.
yeah, mine's
What is it?
Canvas. Canvas.
Campus. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, right now it's not working, but usually it's pretty nice.
yeah. I also like
Yeah.
I attend a lot of like online. There's a lot of like animation like cons or festivals or like places to meet up, and I also like won a Wacom one, which is like
Hmm.
another mini Huon, not mini Huon, a mini uh, Cintiq, and that's just like collecting dust right now. But they're like the cheaper alternative to like the Cintiq.
Hmm. There's a little bit more like tooth to it too. Like I don't know what it is, but oh, there it is. Um, I feel like when I was doing Cintiqs like a lot in college, they would feel like I was skating across the screen. Like it was really hard to control like the pen pressure and just like how my hand went, especially if you're wearing one of those like gloves.
Yeah, I prefer it.
So I was reading your comic. I read your comic. Something's fishy in Florida. It's on Webtoons, Tapas. Is that it? think
Yeah,
I
that's it. Yeah,
got. Okay, cool.
I'm still
Um,
getting used to it. The platforms.
yeah, I was gonna ask because I don't think I've ever seen you do like a. Oh wait, we got comments. I haven't been doing anything. Oh, it's Ben. Hey Ben. Hand stuff. The artist's greatest nightmare. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, ones are the best tablets. Although I've heard good things about the Wacom one. I haven't experienced that one yet. I've
Yeah, I
kind
haven't
of
either. It's still
bubble.
in the box.
You'll have to do a little review and let us know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you won this. I'm like, I didn't even get to watch the conference because their like links were really working. But it's like, you won this. I'm like, do I trust this? Okay, I'll give you my address, and they just send it in the mail.
But back to your comic. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you're good.
What what I guess I'm gonna ask you about like the plot and
Yeah,
everything later. But like the
yeah.
big thing that stood out to me was like the collage usage in it, which I think is pretty cool. But now that you've told me, because I was gonna ask you like what inspired it, but if I'm trying to like psychoanalyze, like
Yeah.
is it due to like the arthritis problems where you're like incorporating more graphic stuff into it instead of having to draw like all these sharks and like sea monsters?
Uh, no. um, it, it's based on my thesis and like, um, which is like Welcome to Florida, um, which like I used a Toon Boom and Harmony to like animate it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like that program uses a lot of flat colors, and then I would take those like flats and import it into After Effects to make it look all pretty.
Mm.
And I would use because After Effects is like Photoshop for like motion designers,
Mm-hmm.
and so like I would have like this basic boring color, but then I would drag in like a texture, free texture, and clip it and make it look pretty. And I also like added a bunch of adjustment layers and stuff to make it look the way I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise, it's really hard to shade in Harmony or Toon Boom. So I would I would export all these PNG sequences into After Effects and then export it out. So that was more of what led me to like use the collage and like like photos and embed them into like textures.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before I had arthritis. It was more just me wanting my animations to look prettier than they did.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting because I feel like it. I think the way you've like colored it is so harmonious. Where it took me, I like recognized that it was collage, but it took me a while to be like, oh, it's not like a one kind of like medium comic. Um, how do you? I know you said you were getting used to the format of webtoon, but what kind of made you want to do that over like a traditional like comic format?
Um, for that one specifically, it looked easier because it's scrolling. So it's just you just have to make it like flow downwards versus like figure out how to like hop around, which is gonna suck if
Mm-hmm.
when and if I want to like print it out. So I have a lot more like trouble doing this than like this,
Right.
and I think it's just easier to like tell the story this way, or the story I want to tell this way.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like I figured out the limitations of like Webtoon and Tapas like Sunday, because I wanted to upload like 3 episodes, but the third one is just so long that uh, Tapas and Webtoon did not like it. Double. So Tapas and Webtoon, they say, oh, you can like post as much as you want. You can post as many as you want,
Mm-hmm.
or as long as you want for like an episode. But that's not true, um, because I use Clip Studio, and So like there's a bunch of strips, right?
Hmm.
And Clip Studio gives you the option to like make a bunch of strips, but Tapas and Webtoon only like 7 strips at a time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I didn't. Yeah, I guess I'd never seen anybody hit the limit before. I'm not super familiar with the webtoon like loading stuff, um, but I do know like it does seem like the chapters are. I don't know if they're like kept that way for like a retention thing or if it's like a data like if the file sizes are too big then they run into like technical problems.
Oh, the max for each like episode is 20 megabytes. Um, I usually export those into like PNGs and then bring them into Croppy,
Hmm.
which crops it and makes it easier to upload to Tapas and Webtoon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I
I
love.
actually really appreciate you writing everything out for me because like
Yeah, yeah, I
are
do
you
want
a
to do it.
big
Yeah,
go ahead sorry.
I do want to do like a regular like comic someday that's more like traditional leaning, just not with this one. So
Hmm.
that was the question.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna ask if you like have like how much of this story do you have planned out? Because it seems like you've been working on it for a hot sec, like since it's like based on your thesis. I wasn't sure if you were like, this is a story that I've been wanting to tell for forever, and I already have the ending planned out, or if it was more like a just go with the flow kind of thing.
It's been more of a go with the flow kind of thing because like I drew like a gag character for like my portfolio back in like 2016 when I was like applying to like art school, and
Hmm.
it was just like this octopus girl, and I'm just like, lol, her name is Octopussy, and that was what I submitted to every college. Um, so it wasn't serious at all, and then I just kept drawing fish people at like CC80, and then it just got more serious over time. And I'm like, I can make this my thesis. I can just make a montage of a bunch of fish people.
Hmm.
And yeah, 2019. It's laggy for me on Magma too, so that's why it's like very poor. And then
That's okay.
it just bounced around like that. And I've always wanted to like make a comic, but I just never took the dive. And I was like focusing more on animation
Hmm.
um, for the most part, and like other concepts because I got the chance to like pitch a show to an executive, um, but and they wanted to bring it into development for like an episode, but like a very like famous writer and creator like was making a similar sounding show,
Hmm.
but after that came out, it wasn't related to mine at all. But that same development executive, the streaming service that they worked for released a show much more similar to mine, um, in like plot and like character names, and I'm like, that's kind of sus.
Mm,
So like,
that sucks.
how much of me sharing my idea with you did you like help them with, or like vice versa, or if it was just like all a coincidence? Because it was like not just one character, it was like a few characters, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. So that
Yeah.
also like turned me off from like animation, because like in animation, if you have like an idea, um, you would make a pitch bible,
Hmm.
uh, which is like, oh, it's the character descriptions and like the plot, and here's some episode ideas, um, which I worked really hard to like develop over time, over months, with like working with other people um, in the industry and getting feedback and stuff. But it was kind of disheartening just like seeing that, because like that show came out very recently,
Hmm.
and it's not the same style or like as edgy as mine, but it is kind of like disheartening.
Right. No, I think that's like a devastating. Like,
Yeah,
um, do you think you'd ever like pitch another show, or are you kind of
I think
burned?
the opportunity to, but I'm gonna be like more cautious about it,
Mm.
because I'm sort of like, I'd like to do my own animations, but it's just harder to like get voice actors and stuff and animate them. Like, oh, I have an idea and I can make it a comic, because it just is able to like convey more.
Mhm. Yeah, there's definitely a lower barrier of entry for comics.
It's more community, and it's just easier to get your ideas across.
Mhm.
Not
Um, let's talk about space while you're. I mean, we can go back to your comic,
yeah, yeah.
but I feel like we got to get it in. Oh wait, Ben has a question. Have you ever considered a comic challenge, like 24-hour comic day?
I've seen those. I just haven't gone around to it, because I don't know if it, like, I haven't gone deep into challenges. Like, I don't know if like 24 hours like a specific day, or like it's just whenever. I'm very like new to like the comic community space.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know a lot about like anything.
Um, oops. Yeah. I was gonna say because I remember you. I knew you were an animation student when we had class together, but I always thought you were good at comics. Like I always liked the ones you submitted in old Bobby Loss's class. So uh, I'm kind of surprised to hear that you're kind of new to the whole like community. Like I'm glad you're in C3 because I feel like I get to see your stuff more. But
No, yeah, like I don't know. I was just more focused on like animation and getting like in that space.
mm-hmm.
Uh, so I was like dealing with like industry stuff and like talking, networking. But I really appreciate the community that's in Columbus, and how big like comics are
Mm-hmm.
in Columbus. Um, so I'm discovering like anthologies and all this stuff like pretty late, and I was like never. I wasn't as involved as much as I would have liked to in CCA. I was just more focused on like getting my own work done.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I was kind of the same way where it's you kind of get in your own head about it, like especially with animation where like Ben's saying it takes a lot of time, um, and it kind of like I feel like that college atmosphere kind of consumes you a little bit where you're not even focused on the networking aspect, which is arguably like the most um, valuable thing I would say a lot of people get out of CCAD.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but you can get in your own head about like I must become like I have to make sure this degree isn't a waste of time and money, and you know,
Yeah,
I definitely get that headspace.
yeah. I felt like a mad rush to like, oh, I gotta be somewhere right out the gate
Yeah,
after like
absolutely.
graduating. Like my
Um,
whole like senior year, I was just drinking energy drinks and working on the thesis. Like it was energy drinks from coffee to energy drinks like every day.
yeah, I recently you're talking about uh, coffee and energy drinks. I recently went to the emergency room because I was living that life again, which I shouldn't be because you know nobody's forcing me to. But I had kidney stones because I drank too
Oh,
much coffee. uh, and it's expensive to go to the emergency room. I did not. I mean, I knew, but I never had like firsthand experience with it. And then when you get hit with a 5 grand hospital bill, uh, it's it puts things in perspective for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's bad. At CCAD, I went to the emergency room like twice. The first time they didn't know what was wrong with me, but I just had like cramps and like nausea, and then I had to go back, and they just did a bunch of tests on me, and it was like a kidney infection that I had to stay overnight, and the bill was like 22 grand.
Oh my
Uh, but I
gosh,
had I had the right kind of insurance at that point in time in my life, so it was only like $100 out of pocket.
that's
Yeah,
yeah. I'm really I'm really glad that happened for you. 22 grand is a crippling number.
yeah,
Um, I didn't mean to make this about medical issues, but how's your what are you bringing to space? I feel like I keep I keep bringing up
yeah.
space and then I get distracted by something. What are you bringing to space?
It's all good. It's my just like pop this open. It's a it's a comic I worked on back at CCAD, like Comics 2. Um, it's about the Beatles. It's the conspiracy theory that Paul McCartney died, uh, or the first Paul McCartney died and was replaced by like a look-alike or like another like session musician. Um, pop it open. Uh, it's called Hello, Paul is Dead. Um, and it was for my like it was for the final comic, like you can make it about anything, and I just decided to talk about the conspiracy theory. And um, here's like one of the original like discs that I made. So you like turn it around and like to read it,
Oh, that's cool.
and you can pull it out like a vinyl record. And I never finished it. During my time at CCA, I only made like two or three of the records, like two, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm like, oh, I like that idea. I just never finished it, and like during these last couple of months, I'm like, oh, I'll just finish it and wrap it up.
Hmm.
And I didn't think I would bring it to like space because I'm like, oh, that's so soon. But then I finished it. Um, originally, how I originally made it was I inked it in Photoshop and then would print that out and then use highlighter markers to draw over it.
Hmm.
Um, but since I started back on it, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. That's just a lot of printing. So like I bought Retro Supply Co. Has like highlighters or like a marker effect that I think is really good. Supply. And so I just used that to make like this one. Like all this is like digital uh, highlighters, digital markers under the inks.
Hmm.
I think it came out pretty good.
It's really cool. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like these. I I take it back. I not that this takes away from you, but
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation with my brother about I think it was space last year, where there was a dude who drew on like paper plates,
Yeah.
and they were I don't know if you saw that guy, but
No.
I don't remember his name because I talked to him for a little bit because I was like, why are you drawing on paper plates? But he was really cool, so that's what yeah this that reminds me of this. But obviously a really cool idea. I love the turning aspect. So when this is a physical document or like a physical like book or zine,
Yeah.
what's this like? Is it like a bunch of like discs loose, or is it like printed out on squares or?
Yeah. They're the circles are discs, and they all fit in like the album cover packet, which is this.
Mm.
Like, if I could show you with my camera, it'd be easier because I'm just gonna pull them out. But you would pull out the discs, There's
Mhm.
5 of them, and so it's like front and back, A side, B side,
Oh, sick.
like 1, 2, and you'd read it like that. And here's the and on the back side of the album cover, you'd be able to see like the track list. Um,
Oh, okay. Damn, that's smart. Okay. I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
I mean, it's an old idea, and I'm just like, I'll
No,
just finish this up and just like put
no,
it
that's
out there.
really cool. I feel like zines. I mean, everyone is like trying to play with the form factor of them, but I don't know if I've seen one like this. That's really sick, and I love the album cover. I think that's awesome. That's like a great illustration.
And I think Emmy, like our teacher Emmy,
Oh, Emmy Guinness, yeah,
yeah. She's like, oh, I've never seen this before. I'm like, oh, then I should make this at some point. It just took
yeah.
me like 4 years to like finish
I'm
or get
glad.
back
I'm
to it.
glad you did it.
And thanks,
Are
man.
you? I should know this, but I've been very out of the loop with humanity as of late. But are you tabling solo or are you tabling with C3?
With C3,
With C3, okay,
yeah,
because I'll be there, so we're gonna do a little bit of trading while we're sitting at that table together.
for sure. I'm coming in Sunday, um, because Paramore's Paramore's coming Saturday night.
Mm,
Uh, and also my friend who's like gonna guest star or like be a guest at Anime Columbus is gonna be there too. Just found that out like this past weekend. I'm like, you're gonna be there. You're being Columbus finally. Um,
yeah, that's gonna be a busy weekend.
yeah,
Where's Paramore playing?
I don't. I think the Schonstein Center.
Shot. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that'll be cool.
yeah. I bought these tickets like when it like dropped. You have to get into a lottery uh, to possibly like buy tickets because like partner Fran wanted to see them. I'm like, cool. I guess we're gonna see Paramore. Uh, I like their old stuff a lot more.
You
Their new,
know,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead. I think we're about to say the same thing, but go ahead.
their new album's kind of like sleepy. Uh, like their latest album, I'm like this don't hit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good for sure, but I don't know if it's my speed. But a lot of people are into it, so
Yeah, it's not like fast enough for like my like ADHD like manic brain.
yeah.
Um, so I'm just
What we
hoping
got?
for oldies.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope. I feel like Paramore's the kind of band where they kind of know they're gonna play to their audience, so you're gonna get the classics. We got a couple comments. Darby Hepner, the disc format is such a cool idea. It is. Ben, is this your first time tabling at slash attending space?
Yeah, yes, it is. Because I've never tabled before, or like,
Oh
and I have,
wow.
yeah, I've not attended space because I've only been back in Columbus in like late 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and 2022 is just a lot. Um, so I don't think I've heard of space until like recently when I started getting to like C3 and like doing more research on like the comics community and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I never tabled, never like had a reason to table because I feel like a lot of the cons I've been to before were like a bunch of fan art. So
Right. Yeah. I honestly think your stuff's gonna do really well at space. I feel like you've got the good amount, like the good blend of like quality plus like it still feels like indie to me. Like it still feels kind of like rebellious, which I feel like space kind of embodies. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see you thrive at space.
no thanks. It looks cool. I've just been like I'm a very anxious person. Uh,
Mm.
draw. Let me draw. Um, so I can't like imagine myself being behind a table by myself, especially like for the first time.
Right.
Why is it doing
Yeah.
this?
Honest, I had to open up a new tab in my like just like a blank tab and then exit out of it and come back to draw. I don't know if that'll help you.
Maybe. Why is it doing this?
Darby Hefner. I heard they finally brought back Misery Business. Finally. Yeah.
I like the album like right before it, um, but they had like the brother or like one of the brothers who like was in the original band right for that album, but I don't
Hmm.
know about this new one.
I'm gonna have to go back because I don't know if I listened to that one. I feel like I didn't really hear about Paramore for a couple years. So, and then the new one hit and like everyone loved it. So I was like, let me give it a listen. But maybe I'll go back. Let me just get rid of these guys. Um, oh yeah, Ben doing a little self plug here. I see you. C3's table at Space is going to be right next to Kelsey Crawford's and Ben's, so you'll be in good hands. Yeah, I think it'll be a fun time. We're gonna have like a big like lineup of C3 people, and I'm sure whoever's not tabling will be walking around because this
Yeah,
will just be like a little hub of. Do you need me to send you that link again?
yeah. No, I'm just struggling because
Or?
like
Okay.
the markers just disappeared and just like the eraser tab. It's just I don't know.
I have so many questions here. I don't know what to do. Just let me check my questions off while you're doing that. So what kind of comics do you like besides like making your own? Like I feel like I know we talked a lot in class, but I don't know if I ever like got a recommendation from you. Like what do you read in your free time? Are you like a webtoon person, like a manga?
I'm really bad with reading nowadays. Uh, yeah, I've been really bad with reading. I like
That's fun.
I read. Let me see if this. I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, how do I make this a pen? Because I just want to draw, but all I got is cube.
Is your layer? Can you make a new
Maybe it
one?
is. Yeah, maybe that's.
Yeah,
I
you
think it's a
got.
toolbar up here. That's like screwing with me.
Oh, I got something.
Yeah, it's just this cube.
Oh, the cube. Let's see.
Let me brush. Okay, I guess I'll just use the cube. Uh,
We'll have to. Yeah, we'll have to make do.
I feel like I was a bigger reader when I was younger. Lately, I just read like fanfics and like informational documents. I know that's bad.
What kind of informational documents are you reading? Because that's
Uh,
a strange thing to say.
yeah, yeah. A lot of like declassified like FBI stuff and like CIA stuff because I'm like also like nature stuff like about fish.
Yeah.
Very it's all over the place. Like for art styles though, I used to read a lot of manga and comics when I was younger, so like a lot of all the vintage comics and
Mm-hmm.
like manga. Like I read old Spider-Man too because it used to be at the library. A lot of Shonen Jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which really like sparked like my manga uh, like appreciation like style. Nowadays, I read a little bit of webtoon, a little bit of tapas, but I'm trying to catch up like manga I'd like to read. Like there's one I really like called Prison School. I really like the style and like the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
prison school's a
yeah,
prison school's a trip.
it's
I
pretty
haven't
pretty.
watched that anime in forever, but
It's pretty
I
risque.
yeah, I'd share some some screenshots from it, but I don't know what would come up, so I'll leave you guys in the audience to Google it yourselves.
But the manga's like really beautiful. Like I wish I could emulate like that quality. Uh,
Hmm. I don't know if I've ever seen the manga actually. Let me look up. This is for me, guys. I'm not gonna share this. I just want to check it out. Manga.
and I really like the character dynamics.
Wait, can I?
And the relationship discussion and like aspects.
Okay, I'll just share this one. This one little. That's great. Yeah. Okay. These first couple these first couple pictures are not that bad. Well,
Like
okay.
the high contrast and the like shading. And the illustrator really likes to like distort um, and play around with expressions and perspective.
Hmm. I love these covers too. I might have to read it. These are really cool.
It's great. It's great.
um, I was gonna say, I don't know if you've seen this anime, but your comic, the coloring style really reminded me of Great Pretender. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. Um,
There's some really great. I don't know what it is about it, but like when I saw like the coloring on Something's Fishy in Florida, it felt like a really like sunny, like beachy kind of. I don't know. It gave me this like weird vibe. And Great Pretender's got that kind of thing too. So I was just wondering if you had ever seen it, or if this was just like a natural thing. Um, do you think like you have kind of nailed, or at least like emulated pretty well, the vibe of Florida in
I
your
think
art for
um,
Something's Fishy?
I think I'm getting there. Like I'll show you like a later chapter. Like this is more of like it's getting closer. Here's like some highlighted panels. So I think it's getting there. I use like I'm gonna use more like blurred photo backgrounds in it.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's getting there. Um, Especially since I didn't know like I'm not happy with like the first two chapters of like the shading style. Now
Oh,
looking,
really?
yeah. Um, like I think the spotlights are like too much and too like I needed to lower the opacity. But I at this point I'm just gonna keep moving forward. Um, like it's never gonna be perfect.
Right.
So might as well just like keep going.
Yeah, I think that's a good mindset to have. I feel like a lot of us are stuck in the sick like perfectionism like mindset, and it's nothing ever gets made. So I think you're smart for just like plowing through, because I think it's just gonna like naturally get there. You know, like I
Yeah.
think it looks good now, but if you have like a specific vision in mind, then I think you're on the right track for that.
Now every like comic panel, like every time you like hear like a comic artist talk or speak, it's always like, yeah, just do it, just do it, just make it, just get it out there. And it's like, okay, yeah, just put it out there. Yeah, just do it. It's so
Just
easy.
do
Just
it,
just
guys.
just do it.
Wearing a
Like,
suit. I gotta take that off. Great Pretender's pretty great, Ben. Yep, you got pretty good taste. I'll give you that. Perfection is the enemy of progress. All in caps. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Let me see what else I got for you, Danielle. I feel like I had some real hard hitting questions that were gonna like make you have to go to therapy because you're thinking about why you do things so much.
I already know that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Oh, I was going to talk about this at the beginning, but I just wanted to throw out there that Danielle was the winner of our logo "Draw This in Your Style" a few months ago. Um, and I was gonna have you on a stream, and I feel like I just kept having to put it back because we had some other stuff going on. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's a pretty cool little deer. If you guys haven't seen it,
Oh, thank you.
I remember I remember picking out like the pen nib was the eyeball of the deer,
Yeah.
and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So
Oh, thank you.
just a little footnote.
Yeah, I was just like doodling, and I'm like, yeah, comics are a lot. Comics can be made from a bunch of things. Here's a bunch of utensils. CMYK. Yeah, I don't
I'll
like.
keep.
I don't know. I really like comics. Like I drew comics before I animated, so um, there's a lot of uh, venues. I don't know, mediums you could use.
Mm-hmm. What kind of mediums do you like to play around in besides like digital, or are you like mainly digital?
Yeah, I've been mainly digital, but I have like a tons of markers, and I'm just a marker hoarder. Um, so I'd like to use more of those uh, traditional stuff, but I've just been overly like attached to like and reliant on like digital for so long. It's pretty bad, uh, but I do appreciate like other mediums, and like I think that's why I also like embedded into like my digital art, like watercolor textures or like photographic textures, and the collage aspects.
Yeah, I think some people can get really like synthetic results with digital, but I don't. It's your comic is like obviously digital, but it's not like a sterile like to me. And I don't think like I've seen your work on Instagram, and I don't think I've ever thought like it's like amateurish like digital, like the blown out like airbrushy rendering or like the what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, but I've had that moment. I've had those moments, like
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I think that's like something everybody works through. No, my pen.
because like it took me a long time to get like to understand digital art, and I didn't have a tablet for the longest time because it was like the early days of the internet when there weren't like any tutorials. YouTube was in its like early heyday, and there was just like nobody. There was
Mm.
nothing. And all my when I started doing digital, it was like oversaturated. Everything was like even more, and the colors were just like mishmashy. And I had like back then a Smack Jeeves, and I started posting like a comic, and
Wait,
people were
you gotta explain what a smack Jeeves is
oh
to
like
me. I don't.
yeah, it's old. It was like the main comic platform for anybody who knows or who remembers. It
I've
was
never heard of smack Jeeves.
yeah, pre. Um, it was like the main comic hosting like platform for like different artists. Um,
Is it like a Newgrounds almost?
yeah, but I would call it similar to like Webtoon and Tapas, where
Hmm.
it's just like here's a comic, here are like the description, here are the chapters, and just like any user can like host their own without having to make like a WordPress site, uh, and people can comment and like follow. So it was the heyday, and people wanted to see my comic continue, but I'm like, this is trash. Um, and that became uh, like the show pitch. Like I have like a animated show for like that idea, but maybe I'll make a comic about it someday. But I have to like get that formulated. Um, it took me many years, like right before I got to like CCAD, when I was like building my portfolio to like figure out how digital art works.
When you were like first like wanting to do art school, what was like the goal for you? Like, did you always want to do like show pitches and like animation stuff, or were you just kind of?
Yeah, I've always been into like I always wanted to do like animation or cartoons. I was always drawing like silly little drawings, um, but I didn't know how. And in like my community college, how do I change this? Yeah, in community college, I like studied fine art and to like graphic design, Photoshop, and stuff. But I also like was into conservation, so I considered doing conservation. Uh,
Mm.
and I like was taught by like this Italian like master, and so I considered it. But I just enjoyed making like dumb little drawings more, and so that made me want to like pursue animation. And yeah, so I did a bunch of research. I like built up my portfolio, um, studied art schools. I got to visit like Cal Arts, uh, but I didn't really like the vibe of it. Um,
Is it because they use the same character model for all their their guys?
it just gave me weird vibes. It was like I got like a school tour, and it was kind of like bad to say, like a little like pretentious. More of
Hmm.
the fine arts. Uh, yeah, the animation was like intense, but that didn't really like ward me off. It was just the highest theme of it all. Um, and like I was the only person there who wasn't just like straight out of high school. Like I had some like education under my belt, and like the head animation person wanted to see me or like talk to me or have a meeting with me, but it was just like I was just traveling through, so it's like yeah, I can't. Sorry, and I didn't really apply, even though they saw like my like notebook and stuff. And
Did you? You don't have to say if you don't want to burn
yeah,
bridges, but did you like the vibe at CCAD? Like, did the general culture like kind of do it for you, or was like the community college like your kind of favorite like setting to be in?
I liked CCAD a lot. Like I got to visit the city, and like this is a pretty chill city. But yeah, I liked CCAD. There were times where like I felt kind of old, and people would just like have petty drama. Uh, like this is yeah, somebody got mad at me because I didn't take their kazoo.
There
Like
what?
like somebody was handing out kazoos, and I said no, I already got one because I did. Someone already handed me one, so I said no,
Yeah.
thank you. I already got one. And then they just started talking loudly in like the lunchroom about how I didn't take their kazoo. and then
Oh,
they started loudly playing the kazoos, and I could hear them. Like I was like 20, 30 feet away, and I could hear them talking about me. And I'm like, what is this? What is
that's
this
an
tree?
odd. That's like an odd human interaction. I don't like that.
Yeah, so there were just some like I liked CCD. I loved the teachers. Uh, a lot of like the people I worked with or like talked to, but sometimes like random moments like that would happen,
Mhm.
and it's just like, why are you mad? Why do you
Wait, so
feel
how you don't have to answer, but like, how
bad?
old are you?
Um, I'm 29.
29. Okay, that's not. When you said you felt older, I was like, how? Wait, is she like secretly 40? And I don't.
No,
Okay, that
yeah,
makes.
I look so good for being 40 and already
You look
got
great for being
arthritis.
40. Yeah.
Uh, no, it just a lot of times people would just get like upset or offended by what I'd say, and it'd just be like that, where it's like, no, thank you, or
Hmm.
yeah, it just, and I wouldn't understand or like comprehend.
I. Hmm. I'm trying to think back because, like, I feel like I. This is not about space at all, guys. I'm sorry. We're gonna go back to it, but now I'm like, I'm trying to recall because I remember you in class, and I felt like low key intimidated because I was like, she seems like she takes this very seriously, and like, not in a bad way. Like I respected the drive, but I was just like, I don't know. It was not like a. It wasn't like you pissed me off. It was it was like a mysterious vibe, and maybe it was because you were a whole 2 years older than I was, but I don't know.
I'm no, I'm just an anxiety ball, and like I'm a very anxious person, and it takes me a lot to just like say what's on my mind. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought like you, me, and Thomas. I just sort of just said whatever uh, was in my mind. I don't know.
I
I
like
got
no, I liked it. I think that's why we got along.
I got that RBF too. So like if I'm not smiling, people just assume I'm mad too. Um,
No, that's good. I respect it. I actually like the vibe a lot, so I don't think you should change. It's probably too late now. We're getting older, so it's not
yeah,
a.
you just just
You're
stop
the
it.
person you are now.
No,
Ben
it's
says, as someone who also went to art school while not fresh out of high school, it really changes your perspective. I'm curious about that. I feel like we should have more people on who were like not late to the game, but like kind of did it later in life. I think that's an interesting perspective to have. Ben's almost 37. You're all babies. Ben, you don't look 37. You're a liar.
no.
Darby Hefner. Yeah, I came to CCAD as a junior and taking classes with freshmen that first semester was interesting. Yeah, I can't imagine. I feel like there's a big generational gap, even with like people who are like 5 years younger than me, where I'm like, this is a whole new like species of human. Like this is like Cro-Magnon or something, where we're not even on the same genus anymore.
It just puts you in a new perspective. Like right out of high school, I'm like, I'm not good enough to be on my own. That was like my mindset. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be, so I can't just hop into like, oh, I'm gonna travel like to a new state and study art because I didn't feel like I was good enough
Hmm.
yet, or like had enough life experience yet. So I needed those like couple extra years to like yeah, go to school, like level up my skill, but also like save money because I was pretty much on my own
Hmm.
with the money I saved up from like working at Walgreens, um, like just living at CCAD. Yeah, I did work at like the school a little bit, but I was living off my savings. I made every tool an eraser, and I don't know how to change them to like a brush or a pencil.
Is it still doing the cube thing?
Yeah, but I changed the cube into like an eraser on like the tool presets,
Hmm.
and I don't know how to change them.
This is honestly my first time like seriously drawing in Magma, or else I would come to your aid.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I've like done some like sessions with like other friends, but like I haven't like messed up or changed everything into an eraser.
I honestly didn't know it was this like kind of in depth. It's a pretty decent drawing program actually for being like a weird like community, or like not a community but like a cooperative drawing experience. It's not bad.
No, it's fun. I just don't know how to change things back. That's bucket.
Trying.
There we go. Okay.
Did you get it? Oh,
I think
sick.
so. I think so. Yeah, it's B. Me just clicking,
B.
like trying to do it on the Huon. Just trying to figure it out.
I'm glad you got it. Same about not feeling ready, says Darby Hepner. I did move for me personally. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I think I went through high school and I was like the only way to do school is to like do it for do college for 4 years and then get a job right out of school. And maybe that's because like it was shoved down our throats as children. But
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
I don't know if
No,
I had a thought there. It was
I,
just
I
a
didn't. I didn't feel prepared. When I graduated, a lot of people like went to like the local uh, big 4 year college. I know like a lot of my friends did. Like there were two. There's a UCF, which is like either bigger than OSU or like right under OSU,
mm,
and it's like it's massive. It's like it's a city within a city, which yeah, OSU is like a city, like a little mini city, but everything was just so far away because I would hang out with like my friends who like went to school, and there'd be like dorms and like different buildings, and it was like this giant circle, and traffic was awful. It was just massive, and I think for like a lot of people, they would like drop out because it was just not. It wasn't like a stepping stone like community college was from like
hmm
high school to straight into like a massive school where you're just like one of the like thousands in like
Do you think community college like got out all the I have a word, but I don't want to say it on screen. But like your like crappy freshman like isms that you would have growing up, like your like late teens, early 20s, and you're like still a bad person. Like you're not like a fully formed
oh
human.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do
for
you
sure.
think it kind of got it out of you?
I was very reckless. It was not bad at school. I was like, because I've always been like a nerd and like quiet and just a good student.
Hmm.
Um, but I was reckless, uh, like with like friends and like relationships and stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah, like when I turned 21, that was a big mess. Like not just for me,
Was
but other people too.
was it because you turned 21? Like psychologically, it did something to you, or just like circumstantial?
Uh, cir- uh,
You
Me causing the circumstances.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't
So
have to tell me.
yeah,
Also, I don't want
yeah,
you to feel
not
like you got to
yeah,
bare
not
your
on
soul.
stream. Yeah, not on
Okay.
stream. Uh, uh, yeah, I had to learn a lot of like understand other people's perspectives, but like school wise, community college is great. I did like a lot of like I joined student government just because they
Oh,
were like, "Hey, you seem like you should join student government." I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Because like one of them just like walked up to me one day. I was just drawing and stuff. It's like, you should join. I'm like, cool. And it was like the digital arts building sector.
hmm,
They have like a whole building just for like the computer learning stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be student government for this. We just made events and uh, hosted meetings, and then I did like the volunteer organization. Um, I joined that, and that was like a lot of team building, and uh, I would like host like volunteer events. So we would do like lake cleanups, some art festival stuff. We would help out with those.
that's cool.
Um,
Did you like it? Like you sound like you're like fondly remembering.
yeah. I was like going down. Yeah, it was really fun, and um, that also helped me like break out of my shell, just get more involved and feel more comfortable being around other people and talking. Because I like also at this point I was still afraid of public speaking, and even when I had to like present stuff or like host events, I was still very nervous with the social aspect of it. Um, so that really helped me break out, I guess, and be less self conscious. So I think that was a good stepping stone.
That's good. That makes me happy. I like to hear about like little like nexuses in people's lives where they're like, this made me grow as a human.
Yeah, I think it was really helpful to like learn other people's perspectives, like before coming into like CCAD.
Hmm.
Because in high school you're like stuck in like a micro like cosm of
Yeah, it's definitely a culture shock. I feel like especially CCAD where it's very accepting of like whatever lifestyle. Like not that other colleges aren't, but I feel like especially when you go to art colleges, it's very progressive, and especially when you come from like a backwater like cornfield town or like somewhere out in the boonies, it's definitely like a whoa, this is a whole nother planet that you kind of have to learn how to navigate.
yeah, for sure. It was really cool though, because like I grew up like or like graduated from like high school in 2012, and that was like still like the early days of like social media. It was just like oh Facebook and early days of YouTube, and like I always knew I was like queer in like some way, but it was like a hush hush thing, or like you made
Yeah.
fun of it, especially like in the only people who I thought were my friends would be like against me in that aspect.
Mhm.
Um, so it was a lot harder back then too. But I really appreciate like CCAD and like coming here and just being able to like be myself fully, and how much like time has progressed since the early 2010s.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely like a nice microcosm. Like I think there are some weird, you know, social bubbles about CCAD, but I think it is like a very you got to grow up quick there, and I think it's good to like be exposed to all that. Maybe yeah, like all at once. It's like a nice little reset for some people. Not that I don't want to make it sound like I was like blah blah blah, like you know my school was alt right in high school, but it was definitely different, and I appreciated like the different like people that you can meet.
No, yeah, I really appreciated it too. Um,
Anyways, sorry, I feel like that got weird for a sec. Uh,
no, I'm just trying to like formulate formulate thoughts. I'm like,
what? Hold on. What time is it? 8:39. Okay. I'm gonna do like two more questions and then we can get out of here because I can't run my fan while we stream, and I'm slowly sweating to death.
It's all
So,
good. Yeah.
all right. Let me see what I got. What are you like most excited for about space, or like just like tabling in general? I guess it doesn't have to be specifically space.
Tabling, I guess, talking to people, meeting new people, but that's also like space. I like to see other people's like art. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I'm a very anxious person, so like it's hard for me to like start conversations. But if people can come up to me and talk, that'd be great. Um, because I like believe in like boundary. Like I'm very like a boundary oriented person, or like I'm an open book. I might not look it, but I'm very like open to like talking about like anything with anyone. Um,
Right.
but I'm not the person to start those conversations. Um, so if people start talking about their work or ask questions, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So just like grab Danielle and talk to her when we go to space, guys. She'll talk about whatever. Don't feel shy. No, I get that perspective. I'm kind of the same way where it's like the initiation is like the hardest part, and then I feel like once there's like a boundary broken, then it's kind of like everything's fair game.
Yeah.
What am I drawing? What is this?
Maybe you're drawing a dog. I think cat,
Some
my
kind of
cat, or
dog.
like cat butter.
Butter. It's a great
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, we adopted a cat, and like the family who like adopt like it was a street feral cat, and their kid named it Butter, and we're like, yeah, we'll just keep that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. My cat's name is Bubastis,
Who
which
bastis?
yeah, I'll spell that. Wait, let me fix my canvas. It's a Watchmen reference for those of you who have read the famous Alan Moore comic.
Not for a long
Um,
time. I was like, Mr. Boombastic.
no, it's I spelled Bubastis. Uh, it's Ozymandias's links that he has that gets blowed up.
Oh,
That's a spoiler. That's a spoiler for Watchmen. So
Biggie Cheese. Biggie Cheese. I don't remember what he looks like. Biggie Cheese from Barnyard.
Barnyard, the the Nickelodeon show.
Yes. They got a. I don't remember who sings it. Chantal sings whoever sings Mr. Boombastic.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, what? What is happening? Ben coming in with the Egyptian mythology. No, I gotta put this on. Also, an Egyptian mythology reference, which is why Ozymandias picked the name. Yeah, I believe it's like a
Oh,
cat god or something. So pretty cool. Pretty little. I mean, my cat's name is pretty sophisticated. I'm not gonna lie. I felt pretty good about that, about picking that one. So, and then my other cat's name is Charlie. So it's like the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Boombastic. Mm.
All right, I've gone through all my questions. I'm gonna think of one right now to end the stream on. It's gonna be good. Hmm. What's like your favorite thing that you've ever made?
cheese.
Cheese. That's fair.
Cheese.
It's
Uh,
not. It's not even a contest, really.
yeah. And I guess my thesis film. Yeah, I like to like watching on the screen during like chroma and like hearing like people react to it. Um, was like it was like a weird good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and hearing
Have,
people laugh like that's like peak. I don't know, because like you just looking at your screen and like working on something for so long, it just becomes like numbing. But like hearing other people like talk about it or like watch it or witness it, um, it's just like a really good feeling.
yeah. I think it does like kind of complete the cycle of like making something. I remember I was talking to Thomas, Tommy Tran. For those of you who don't know, he's one of our mutual artist friends. But he
Oh,
was like, I don't know if like something is like truly art unless other people see it, and it like completes like the feedback loop of like of just like putting something out into the world and having people like interact with it. I don't know if I agree with that, but I think it's like a pretty interesting, and I think it's pretty cool that you got like applause and like laughs out of your thesis film. So I totally get why that would be your favorite.
yeah. Like I still think if you draw something and like only you see it, you still like if like a tree falls, doesn't make a sound. Like yeah, but
Yeah,
it's another level when you're able to like show it to other people or like put it out there.
yeah, I agree. Well, it's 8:46. I'll let you go. I appreciate you coming on. Ben, I'm gonna talk about Ben's stuff real quick, and then we're gonna do a little outro. Great stream, guys. We'll be having another one tomorrow evening featuring some members of the executive board. So keep an eye on C3 and Space Socials. Yeah, we're gonna do another stream tomorrow, so it's gonna be pretty cool. Uh, See you at Space at the Ohio Expo Center this weekend, June 10th and 11th. Shill, shill, shill. Yep, you beat me to it, Ben. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Space. I'm excited to see you guys, and yeah. Danyell, you're probably not gonna like this, but whenever I end a stream, I have my guest join me in a, what is this? A little. We do
Okay,
this.
am I
We do
like
this
gonna
little
turn on
sign.
the laggy camera?
Yeah, do it, do it, and then we go C3, and
Okay,
that's it.
wait,
That's the
is
end of
it
the
is it
stream.
wait.
It's C. It's like a C and then three, but your camera might
Oh,
be
see.
mirrored.
Okay, is it mirrored? No, no,
No, you're good. All
no,
right,
no.
3, 2, 1.
C
C3. No,
three.
the lag got us. Never mind. All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
Danyell. I appreciate it.
That's been
See you
great.
guys at Space.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye.